to Disagree, your weekly episode of podcast where we, regular Joes who know a little something about everything, tell you guys exactly what the fuck you're fucking up with your life. I'll be your host out of California, Jonathan Esther.
This is Alone in the Dark, Edmond, Colorado.
Yeah, this is the Puppet Master. Where I'm at is not your fucking business.
This is very true. This is very true.
Yeah.
Anger. You know,
Well,
I almost forgot, though. I did want to tell you guys a story, which I wanted to save for the show, okay?
okay, go ahead.
Particularly hilarious, okay? So, I go to drop off the freaking sister-in-law at the airport, right? And I'm driving back, and I got the setup where, like, you know how you have the windshield mount for your phone?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I got my phone up there, and I'm running. I always run, even though I was going home, I run the GPS just because the one I have will tell me if like there's an accident, there's cops, etc., etc., etc. So I keep it running just to know when shit's coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I'm driving, I pass by a fucking box in the middle of the road. Okay, just a cardboard box. I managed to get around it. I don't know if it's full. It probably was just an empty box. But on that thing, you could hit it and say, hey, there's an object on road, just so when other people behind you are coming up, they'll get a warning and they could be on the lookout for it, you know?
Yep.
Just in case there's some shit in this box or somebody freaks out, suddenly slamming into an empty cardboard box, they knew it was coming beforehand, you know? So I go and I hit that, and it's like, I think 2 buttons you gotta hit, okay? You gotta hit, designate, object in road, submit, 3 buttons you gotta press. I hit the second button, and all of a sudden I hear an engine revving beside me. I look over, and there's this fat fucking piece of shit on a fucking yuppie-ass Harley pulled up to my window and started revving his engine, I guess thinking I was texting on my phone. And I'm like, what the hell? And he pointed at my phone and pointed at me. I just started dying laughing at this guy. Okay? Fucking cracking up laughing, pointed at him and laughing, and this dude is just getting more and more pissed off. So I rolled down my window, and he said something, hey, get off your phone! I'm like, asshole, it's a GPS. Well, that's still not safe. Now here's the fucking cherry on top of that, okay? This guy, which is legal in Colorado, okay, just like using a fucking navigation app on your phone is legal in Colorado, this guy's yelling at me that that's not safe. He's riding on the freeway without a fucking helmet on. And I'm like, you fat fuck, you don't have a helmet on and you're talking to me about safety?
Did you say that?
Yes!
Did you really think Alan didn't?
I want to know what he said after that.
He just turned, he said something else by, stay off your phone, and then, took off away. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You wanted to be a fucking civilian police boy so bad. You're fucking with... I have a window mount and everything. It's not like I'm fucking on my phone texting. This shit's mounted on my goddamn windshield. You're bitching at me while we're doing 80 miles an hour down the freeway. You don't got a fucking helmet on? I mean, this is as stupid as when I see guys who have the loud pipe save lives bumper little stickers on their motorcycle, and then they're not wearing a fucking helmet. Like, are you kidding me, dude? It's debatable if loud pipes say live. It is not debatable that you will fucking save your life with a goddamn helmet. Okay? I have a helmet out here. I got a fucking $300 helmet because I've been in motorcycle crashes where I've slammed my head into the ground, and thank God I had a fucking helmet on.
Yep.
So that was my little fucking story. This guy just cracked me up, man. And the other thing that I loved about him is, number one, he had I call it a fucking yuppie bike, which is a new Harley that is trying to be decked out like it's one of the old school hardcore ones.
Mm-hmm.
He had fucking monkey bars on it. Again, here's Mr. Safety here. Had some fucking monkey bars on like this 2013 Harley. Give me a fucking break. And he had a fucking jacket on like he was in a fucking biker gang. He wasn't. It was just like said, I'm Irish or proud to be Irish or some shit on his jacket. So here he is faking like he's in a fucking motorcycle game running colors. It's just some fucking little Irish shirt.
He probably just bought that motorcycle. He thought he was a badass as soon as he fucking got on it. He's like, oh, I'm going to enforce the law today, bitches.
Yeah. And no, like when I'm on my bike, I'm paying attention what people are doing in their car just so I can get the fuck away from them. You know what I mean? But that's it. If I see some girl doing makeup on her car, okay, I'm gonna stay away from this fucking car now. You know? That's what I do. I'm not trying to fucking police anybody's life. Fuck that shit. You know?
But more importantly, like, first off, I'm one of those guys when I drive, I'm not paying attention to anybody personally. I'm just watching cars. You know? I'm looking at the cars on the side, I'm looking at the cars behind me, and I'm always watching for assholes that are speeding up, like motorcycles. So I'm always keeping an eye for that, especially out here in California. You know, they'll play with that freaking lane, like that lane splitter shit. So I don't even have time to look at other drivers and what they're doing. So it really bothers me that you're telling me that you guys were going on the freeway and this guy on a motorcycle was looking at what you were doing in the car.
Yeah, dude.
Like that really fucks with me.
It's just ridiculous, man. It's like, you know, if you want to do it, fucking put the time in, go to the fucking course, and be an asshole cop. Don't fucking skip all that shit and try to be an asshole cop. You know, at least fucking serve a bit. You don't get there.
Don't you dare do this without being certified to be an asshole.
Exactly, man. Exactly. At least they won't be the fucking truth. But that's it. That was my bit about that.
That's funny. It's good old America justice right there. America for sure. All right. Well, we couldn't possibly go any further without saying, fucking France, man. Sorry about what happened, yo. That's brutal.
You know, I heard something happened either today or last night too.
Dude, I wouldn't doubt it. There's been so much. Whenever some shit like that happens, there's always like ripple effects. So I know there's some shit that happened. I know there were bombings, so that was predictable. I know that there were some issues in Syria based off of that. That was predictable. Some violence against refugees all over the place. Unfortunately, also predictable. So it's. I
was talking to Alone in the Dark the other day, and I find it remarkably awesome that France's president was like, we're not going to like jump right into war, but we're going to lead this war. And within 48 hours, they dropped 20 bombs on fucking ISIS. It's like, yep, we thought it through. Fuck them.
It was a long, drawn-out decision, and yeah, let's blow these assholes up.
Francois Hollande is a calm dude, but people forget, man, between the cheatings and the moped rides to like mistresses, he's a bad motherfucker sometimes.
Yeah, you know, man.
I'm impressed. I applaud him. That was fucking brilliant. Fucking, you're absolutely right. You did the right thing.
My issue, which I don't know if a lot of people noticed, but France, especially during like the last, I think 4 or 5 years, has really, you know how in the U.S. we've been bitching about the whole domestic surveillance and shit like that?
Mm-hmm.
They took it to another level beyond the U.S. They went even farther than the U.S. did, and we're bitching about that here. You know, there's a lot I talked to, and really I didn't know about this until after this attack. I talked to some people who lived out there, and they're like, yeah, you know, the worst thing that I'm worried about is my country was already taking as many of my freaking rights as they could get away with. Yeah. Now it's going to go crazy. Now they got a valid freaking excuse, you know? They didn't even have a good excuse before. Now they fucking got one, you know?
It's not just...
They had all that shit in place, which means in the U.S. we're not doing enough. We would have to do more to catch up to France, and they still got hit.
Yeah.
So how much is this really helping? You know, I mean, for all I know, maybe the freaking CIA and them are putting down, you know, they've stopped a dozen 9/11s since they've overdoing this. But every time I see something come out of it, it's completely useless for terrorism. They're using it a lot to attack people for other things. I mean, like, practically all these laws that were made anti-terrorism were used in the freaking war on drugs way more than anything else. So now I'm kind of like, you know, if they are getting locked down even more than us and it's still going to stop this, what, how many rights do you gotta lose before it will even have an effect on this shit,
I don't know. Don't know, man. I mean, it's okay. So I got into a conversation with some guys I was hanging out with, some Lebanese guys, who I'm starting to notice, by the way, when I run into Lebanese assholes, and I'm going to call these guys assholes, who think that all Americans are fucking morons and don't know anything about anything, and just off the bat talk down to you from jump. Yeah, look, I get it, man. As an immigrant myself, it's real cute to do the whole dumbass Americans that don't know about the world shit. But talking down to Americans is the worst possible way to fix that.
Now,
The worst possible.
Are you sure they were talking down to you because you're an American and not maybe some other really blatantly obvious thing?
Blatantly dark reason.
You know, they are Lebanese.
This might be,
Don't know. I don't know if they have room to talk down to anybody, really.
I'm just saying, man. There's a reason there that you might be missing, other than you being.
Point I'm making is this. So at the end of the day, man, these dudes, they throw the usual gotcha questions to try to get me, like, who created ISIS? I go, you want the answer to be America. That's the answer you want to hear. I know where you're coming from, and yes, they have a part in it. Just to shut them up. But we're having the conversation, and I asked them something really interesting, which I'm really curious to hear you guys' response on. No country negotiates with terrorists, right? As far as I know. All right. What does it take for us to come to the table with terrorists? What would it take? Like, not that, what do you think it would take for the country to actually come? I'm saying, you guys individually, what would it take for you guys to say, okay, we need to sit down with these fuckers and figure out what the hell is going on?
Well,
because
I wouldn't.
I've heard it.
Yeah, I mean that, and I'd have to.
I wouldn't.
Because the issue is let's say they do something horrifying, the worst shit ever. If you come to the table, that's telling every other group that wants to fuck with you, this is what you got to do to make them reply.
Yep, you open the door.
That's kind of my issue, and it would be hard to fucking stick to your guns on that, especially if it's some really serious shit. But you really got to weigh, do I want to open that door that people now know this is the level they got to take me to force me to come speak to you?
Which is pretty much what they responded, which was predictable. So I told them this. I went, okay. Because my thing is, the more I see these terrorist attacks, the more one question keeps nagging in me. And I'm never getting a straight answer from any source about it. Even from the terrorists themselves when they post their little boastful videos or whatever. But what exactly do they want? The only thing I know for a fact
fucking kill everybody that's not Muslim. Are you serious?
And that's, I know what you're referring to. You're referring to the will of the caliphate on the earth, which is like tantamount, as far as I know, to Revelations for Christians. But
right, but Christians they're not currently doing that.
They're
not saying they haven't, but they're not currently doing that.
You also got to be real careful. These aren't all Muslims. These are extremist Muslims, just like they're
all right. Let's talk about that.
Christians that used to drink.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I want to get into this conversation.
How many Muslims are in the world?
1.8 billion, I think.
It's like 18 billion actually. It's really fucking high. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually, so we think about this, 18 billion, and there's an estimated that 10 to 15% of those Muslims are radical Muslims, radical Islamists, right? So 10 to 15% of 18 billion. What is that? So we'll just say 10%. We'll say 10%. How much is it?
There's 1.6 billion Muslims.
All right, so 1.6. All right, 10% of that.
160 million.
160 million. So the people who aren't radicals at this point, to me, are irrelevant. because there are 160 million that want to kill me. Now, if you want me to believe other than that, the people who aren't part of that 10% need to stand up for what they think their religion is supposed to be and not what these guys are telling the world is, because these guys are the ones I'm worried about, the 180 million that are, that's a bigger number than the amount of people in the United States, am I correct?
There's how many?
That is a bigger number. 180 million is a bigger number than the total people amount of the United States. Is that correct?
350 million in the United States. But Jesus, that's fucking half.
That's a high number. That's almost
half. Think about that. Do I really care about the 90% who are not terrorists? Fuck no, I don't. I care about the fucking 10% who are trying to fucking kill me, which is a lot of fucking people. And so yeah, their number one reason is they want to kill me, and that is something I should be worried about.
And I mean, here's another issue I have is I'll talk because I have a bunch of like Muslim forums and shit. Like I like seeing what are these people talking about, right? And for the most part, obviously, I'm not going to be invited to any fucking extremist forum or anything like that. But the most part, they're really good people, nice people, this and that, etc., 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 okay? Until you really get down into the fucking nitty-gritty of some of the things that they believe. Like, I had an argument with one guy. I mean, mind you, this is on a forum that is really moderate, progressive Muslims. And I brought up, like, yeah, well, there is some issues with, like, women's inheritance and shit like that. Things that are blatantly posted. Or being allowed to rape prisoners of war, slaves, this and that. No. You didn't rape them. I'm like, okay, could they? If a slave said no, if the guy still fucked her, would he be prosecuted for that in antiquity freaking Islam? Well, no, but she wouldn't say no. I'm like, you don't know that, dude. You're making shit up. So really. Even right now, the moderates are not really looking for freedom. And here's another big issue: is they're all. I mean, it's not an extremist view that there's going to be a caliphate someday, and everybody's going to turn Muslim or be fucked, right? Yeah. In their defense, that's also in the Bible. You hear that phrase: "Every knee will bend," fucking etc. etc. Yeah. That's everywhere. But with the caliphate, these people are really, and the time I talked to them was a school in Canada blocked off and let the Muslims pray in the middle of the thing so they could do their prayer times. They got to pray 5 times a day. So they made an area for them, and the other students were over there, helping fucking wall off there, so they had their room and shit, like helping set up this and that. People who weren't Muslims were helping facilitate that, right? And these people were celebrating that. Look at even these, Christians, atheists, this and that. They were helping these Muslims be able to do their tradition. Totally cool story. Until you see one of the guys go, man, I can't wait till the caliphate's here. We want, this will be everywhere. And I talked to the guy, and this was a number of people jumping in, like, yeah, once the caliphate's here, it'll be pretty. The Muslims will be everything will be world peace, blah blah blah. I'm like, well, what about if a Christian wanted to pray at the caliphate? Would that caliphate support that? No, of course not. I'm like, so you guys are here celebrating that Canada went so far to help you guys, do your traditions, while excitedly waiting for the chance to take away the rights of those people to follow their own. Not that I think a freaking caliphate will ever exist. I mean, I'm sorry. I also don't think that every knee will bend. I think both of these religions are going downhill and be probably within 100 years regulated like palm reading and fortune telling is right now. They'll still be around, but it's not going to be like it is right now. But it's really odd to me, being happy, enjoying when countries are giving you the freedoms, helping assist you in following your traditions, while so excitedly waiting for the chance to take those rights away from them. That's my issue,
I mean, you're right. I definitely think, and this puts me in a really weird position, because I'm hearing echoes of the same type of thing we used to hear during like the riots, which are, and I'm catching myself from saying things like Muslim leadership should step forward and make it clear they're not part of this. The truth is that
Look,
there should be a more vocal Muslim majority making it clear, kind of like when
that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying Muslim leadership. Fuck Muslim leadership,
Yeah.
because I'll tell you, they are part of the problem. It's the majority, the 90%. That's a shit ton of fucking people. If they said, fucking, goddamn it, stop doing it, we're gonna fucking kill you, you know what? They'd fucking stop doing it.
Well,
All right, but I need to.
The
I
issue
need-
you have is the main people fighting against ISIS are Muslims. The main people inflicting the most casualties on ISIS are Muslims. The main people being killed by ISIS are Muslims.
But that's not going to happen because they don't want that to happen.
No,
No,
this
it's
they
already
like-
happening.
right now.
No. Well, yeah, but most Muslims want the end state. They don't want the bloodshed and the gory terrorism in the middle, but they want the end state. So they're not going to stop this shit because they want that caliphate to happen. So yeah, that's still a fucking problem.
By that definition, Christians want revelations to happen too.
Oh my God, but Christians aren't going around fucking doing what they're doing right now.
Well, that's what we just said. We said that the guys fighting these extremists, you just said it, they just want the caliphate without the bloodshed and terrorism.
Well, and you
Which
got
is
to
what
remember is
Want.
the disagreement between the two is ISIS thinks that they're the start of that caliphate. The vast majority of the Muslim community, no, you guys have nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? So even if they want a caliphate, that doesn't mean that they want ISIS to come out and make a fucking caliphate, you know? That's kind of the difference here. And that's my issue with people saying the Muslims aren't doing enough. They are doing the majority of the work. They're the one, and mind you, this is while they are at the biggest risk. They are the ones whose family could be killed by these people. They are the ones who will be killed out there. I mean, when we were in Iraq, a lot of Marines were making fun of like the Iraqi police because they would cover their faces and so nobody could freaking recognize them, right? Oh, look at these fucking cowards! I'm not covering my face. Yeah, asshole. If this guy
You go home.
he's gonna freaking go to his house and kill his family.
Yeah.
If you get recognized, it doesn't fucking matter.
But I do have like one, and you guys actually kind of hit on it a little earlier. That number, I've heard it a couple times. I've heard the 10% to like 15% a couple of times, to as high as 20% in some areas. Where is that number coming from? Sources keep changing.
The bulk of it is there was a Pew study where they went around and did, what is that called where you hand out the
survey?
The surveys, yeah. They went around to, a bunch of Muslim countries, a bunch of Muslims in Western countries, etc. They did a huge report on it, and that's where a lot of that comes from. Like, I think it was 13% is people are saying that. I think that 10% or 13% was one of the questions was, do you think it's okay to kill civilians to defend Islam or something along those lines? Okay? Pretty much describing, do you think killing innocent civilians is okay if it's a mean to the ends to stop America from fucking with you, et cetera, et cetera? And it was like 10 or I think it was actually 13% said yes, we think that's acceptable. And there was other questions then they're like, suicide bombers, do you think that the majority of their times that they were right on what they did? So much percentage, which was, a smaller percentage, but when you're talking about 1.6 billion people, that's a lot of motherfucking people. It did have some worrying statistics. And you could see it scale too, like, Pakistan had like, all kinds of, no, women shouldn't be equal, are you crazy? And then tapering off as you get to more Western countries. But that's where a lot of that comes from, is that Pew study. And I'll try and get it and post it on the YouTube channel too.
Yeah, because the biggest thing I have is the more I hear the story with the extremism, even with those Lebanese guys in the car, when they were explaining it to me from their point of view, I heard very different things than when I heard in like the like jihadist videotapes, obviously, than what I saw online or than what I saw on the news, which was there definitely shades of that. Like the whole women's right gets scaled way back when you're talking to Muslims. It's clearly a cultural thing. That just, but I feel like I hear a lot of it and people just kind of blanket it as a group thing. They'll take the worst of that peg and just say the group means that. So if Pakistan would say something like, you know, yeah, I think that some innocents should go down for that. I don't know if that translates directly to boots on the ground. That being said, I agree with Puppet Master. We're not in a position right now where we can comfortably sit back and assume things.
Yeah.
That is unfortunately the reality of it. Like as of right now, like for example, with this Syrian refugee thing, Alone in the Dark, you saw the whole Facebook torrent that happened on my page about that whole nonsense.
Yep.
Which is, I understand when people say stuff like, we don't need refugees right now. We don't need it. We don't know what they're about. We don't know details about them. I understand it. It would be naive of me to sit here and say I don't get where that mentality comes from. But all I'm asking from the people who say it is, let's not pretend like we're the heroes here. We're hiding because we're scared. Say it out loud. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Just say it out loud. But people are making it seem as if, no, this is us taking a step. Like, no, dude. What we were built as a country that takes people in. We're choosing right now not to do that for a good reason. But if down the line, let's say 5 or 10 years from now, right? All of a sudden, ISIS rank or whatever new terrorist organization ranks swell up, and we realize, oh my God, a huge chunk of this rat. We shouldn't act like that came out of nowhere, like we did with ISIS. Because one of the things that annoyed me the most when ISIS came about was a lot of people going, what the hell, man? We did everything for these people, and now they're turning against us. No, dude. We bombed them on a lie. Are they wrong for what they're doing? Absolutely. But we're not walking in here completely clean. I'm Team America all day, but if we're going to be the villain, I'd rather be a proud villain than a fake hero.
And it's kind of irritating to me, especially when you look at the history of how the U.S. has treated other countries. When these other countries have some reservations with going to war or fucking wanted to be what's that called, isolation, shit like that. We've bitched at a lot of countries for doing. I mean, you guys remember the whole freedom fries bullshit, right? You know, that was a national fucking thing because France didn't want to fucking go to war with us, you know, or alongside us. Here they are, you know, looking at a fucking really sketchy looking war, and turned out they were 100% right to dodge that. But now here we are with Sweden. You know, Sweden's so well known for being such a brave, tough country. Germany, France just got attacked, and France is still taking the refugees, okay? All these countries in Europe are doing it, and we're over here going, oh my God, it's too dangerous, it's too scary, we can't do it. Do I totally understand that there is a risk with taking in refugees? Totally. Matter of fact, I haven't checked it to see if it was true, but somebody posted something saying that they found some ISIS people in the hiding among refugees, right?
Yeah, they're conflicting information about whether those passports they found were true or fake.
I totally understand the danger with allowing these refugees in. You don't know what could come in. You could do your best all day long. At the end of the day, you still could be fucked, okay? My issue is here we are getting rid of our values as a country because the terrorists made us do it. By definition, they succeeded. They made us change the way we do business because they committed terror acts. They're winning.
Well, you know, and there's a fine line between that because, yes, they're winning, but at the same time, if you don't acknowledge that and you don't take preventative steps, you have no choice but to accept responsibility when shit does go down. I'm a firm believer everything that happens in your life is 50% your fault, no matter what. So you did something to put yourself in that position at some point or another. And if you don't operate in a way where you try and mitigate that from happening, You're only asking for it to happen, and that sounds really bad because I know where someone's going to go with this.
In this
but
portion of things,
Just so everybody knows, Puppet Master's pro-rape.
what?
I do it.
Not at all. Not at all. No, here's the point. Here's the point. I'm actually agreeing with you. I'm just saying I'm agreeing on the other side of that fence too. Yes, if we're gonna the argument I was having with not rape. Stop it, Jesus Christ. Jesus. No, I'm saying when we're sitting here saying that we're gonna shut down the border because we don't know if anything is gonna come through the border as you know what? I don't agree with it, but if we as a people decide that's the way to go, I'm Team America all the way, baby. That's the team we go with. I'm down.
All right, well, hold on a sec.
But
before you go there, that's not that. Well, that wasn't the statement. Don't take people in from the governors and the lawmakers.
No. Well, actually, as far as I knew,
no. The statement is we're not going to take people in until Department of Homeland Security does a review of the screening process and make improvements. That is what they said. They didn't say we don't want them all together. They just want precautions put in place, more stringent precautions put in place to make sure to help. You can't guarantee, but to help mitigate those circumstances from happening. I don't think they're wrong.
Well, that's fine. No, and that's fair. As I said, really, what I was saying is I was going the extreme route and saying even if that's the decision we make, I'm down. I'm perfect. Even if that's where we ultimately as a country decide to go, because I understand the circumstances. But just like you say, if you weren't to do that and something were to happen, we'd have to take responsibility. If down the line, those Syrian refugees, because ultimately the reason the jihadists and terrorists do this is so that the West has apprehensions about Islam, and when they do, they have more pull to recruit from them. They can walk up to these moderate, quote-unquote, Muslims and say stuff like, see, the West never really cared. You know, yeah, we have stringent rules, but we'll take care of you, yada, 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 bring them in. Now they're puffing up the rank. Is it their fault, no matter what the consequences are? If we come in and bomb their country to hell because they decided to side with somebody that they shouldn't? Yes. But I'm saying, I don't want to hear in 5 or 10 years, like I heard with ISIS after Al-Qaeda, what the heck, where's this from? Where did these people come from? Like, no. We know exactly where they came from. Let's shore up for that potential future too.
Dude, there's no right answer. There's only
there isn't.
I don't think
there's only an answer that mitigates at the same time as trying to help the refugees. I mean, there's a happy medium, and that's, I mean, if you look at all the statements from most of the governors, I mean, I'm sure there's one or two crazy ones out there like, fuck that, don't take them. But for majority of the people, that's not what they're asking. They're asking to help mitigate the possibility of allowing terrorists into their state.
I mean, I was looking it up while you were talking, and I think at best it's 50-50.
Okay. 50-50, we're talking 30 states they're saying that they don't want them, right? Something like that? They're like 31 states?
Then the thing is it's really curious. Now, I noticed it when this all started happening, but I noticed when the first states started denying refugees over safety concerns, it really was like a total match from the states that broke off to go to the Confederacy.
What are the odds?
A lot of states with severe civil rights civil rights issues to this day suddenly being real concerned about their fucking safety. You know what I mean? So am I saying all these states are denying it, wanting to deny refugees just due to racism? No. Am I saying that probably has a very, very strong fucking reasoning behind this? Absolutely. Okay. I think if these were Israeli refugees coming in, there would not be 31 states bitching about these people coming.
You're absolutely right, but you also don't have fucking the Mossad running a terrorist organization, fucking cutting people's heads off and fucking trying to take over the entire world and establish their fucking own giant mosque in the middle of fucking Washington D.C. I mean, come on, think about this. That doesn't even compute.
True chains.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to.
Well, it depends on who you talk to, but let's say, all right, Israel is not a terrorist organization. That is a country.
This.
Yeah.
Do we really want to go down this route? Do we
Look,
really want to? No.
You open the door, fucking do it. Call them terrorists if you want, but I don't think they're terrorists.
Hey, I'm not the one to say those words. I like
I'm not
possessions.
Israel is a bunch of terrorists. That's completely fucking.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think they kill a whole lot of innocent civilians.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't make them terrorists.
Of terrorizing a population.
What is the definition of terrorism?
I'm very curious what you think it is.
No, look it up right now. Let's look it up.
All right, he's looking it up right now.
Let's get the official word. That way we can see if those metrics apply to Israel.
They use violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims. Okay, yeah, then I changed my mind. Israel is definitely a fucking terrorist organization.
No, because their country is already in that political mindset. What are they doing? Are they trying to take over another country?
Yes. Yes.
Who?
Are they trying to drive out Palestinians?
Yeah, Palestine.
Now, hold on. The place where the Palestinians live, who's that belong to?
Oh, this is where you're going to get into dicey
question,
territory. You're going to get...
No, who's it belong to? Officially, according to every other country in the world, who's it belong to?
It's not every other country in the world. It's not even... I mean, there's a whole lot of countries, and not just Muslim ones, that don't recognize Israel.
That's
there
what I
would be
was...
a whole lot more of them if the U.S. wasn't up Israel's ass and forcing countries to do it.
I think...
Because Israel would have been extinguished by Muslims because they're... Oh, my God.
That's a huge assumption.
Oh.
That's why I was saying I don't know
my
the
thing.
conversation.
If we took a state and made it Israel, like think about some state we don't give a shit about. Maryland. There we go, okay?
Haters gonna hate, yo.
Israel, I'm totally 100% down, okay? When another country tells another country that we're taking part of your country to give it to people you don't like, that's really... You know, that's like how we bought fucking land off the Indians back in fucking colonial days. You know, we would go to one Indian's, hey, can we buy Manhattan Island? Well, we don't own it, but sure, go ahead. Here's fucking a case of whiskey off that deal.
This is still pointless to the fact that Israel is using hard violence against lots of civilians to push a political agenda, regardless of who belongs to what, to how. The fact is, Israel has used force in very questionable ways to push in
by applying those metrics and coming up with that determination, then the United States were terrorists too.
Because some countries were considered such. This is the problem. You're not getting, because technically, could you sit here?
No. What I'm trying to understand is how you're using that word and putting us in the same boat and Israel in the same boat as ISIS. That is exactly what we've done.
Don't you link me up with that? I specifically told you when you started this. Are we sure we want to have this conversation?
Well, no, but I mean, you can't apply those metrics across the board the same way.
Of course you can. That's how we define everything. We have a definition, and if things fit into that definition, like we were saying, what's a terrorist nation? Israel is using force to ensure a political agenda. America, I mean, did we go to Iraq on a lie? Yes or no?
That's debatable.
True, but do you think the Muslims that we
you're looking for a yes or no? I can't give you that.
And that's why I specifically told you I don't know if it's a good idea for us to go into this conversation.
Well, no, it is, because now I'm a little confused, because now I think that you think the United States and Israel just as bad as ISIS. They're terrorists.
I never said just as bad.
But you think they're terrorists.
Well,
I think we have some things in our past.
I thought you were Team America, so now you're part of a terrorist organization.
Did I not say I'm a proud bad guy? I specifically used the word proud bad guy earlier. If America,
look, man,
listen, no,
look, you gotta own it. If this is what you believe, you gotta own it.
Hold on, you're trying to twist things I've said, and that's specifically what I told you right before we started. So let me state my point very clearly. If you're asking if I think America is a terrorist country, I do not. But I can tell you this, there are plenty of countries that can make a strong case for why we are. One very clear
all right,
example is
let's
Iraq.
name them countries. All right,
Iraq.
Iraq.
That's my
All right.
main example.
Anybody else?
That's the only one I know very well. Do you need more than one country to be defined a terrorist?
Iran.
You know how many countries consider ISIS a terrorist?
All of them, I'm sure.
All right. You know how many countries consider Israel a terrorist
Look, man,
country?
If you're a buddy with a guy who beats his wife and you think it's cool, but his wife doesn't, that doesn't change he's a wife beater. I get your point. Most of the world agrees with us.
What?
Hold on, let me finish where I'm going. I get your point. Most of the world thinks America is cool. I get your point. I'm telling you, we have a questionable history. So if you're asking me if America is terrorist, I already gave you your answer, which was no. But
look, if majority of the people in countries don't feel that we're terrorists, you know what? We're not terrorists.
Well, no, because that's not part of the definition, man. There's no majority.
That's not the definition.
Okay, all right, you're right. But you know what? This feeds right back into our problem in the United States that we have in general is, you know, we're so afraid of offending people that everybody's offensive.
No.
If
that's really what you think is one of our biggest problems in the U.S., man.
I do. I think we got a lot of people who are crying about stuff that they shouldn't be crying about.
That's fine. That's fine. That's our country problems.
And the worst part is that it's not just that they're crying about it. They offer no help or solution in the process. They're just crying about it. If you got a fucking problem, you know what? Let's help try and fix it. But if you don't try and help fix it, you know what? You're just part of the problem.
That's fine. But my thing is this. All I want is in this future that is coming, no matter what decision we take, I'm on America's side, but in this future that is coming, we won't be playing the victims if it turns out we made the wrong choice. That's all I want to know of America. I'm tired of us pretending like our actions don't have consequences abroad. They do, major ones. ISIS was created because of our actions. Is it our fault they're there? Not directly. There were plenty of other fucking reasons ISIS would be there. Hell, ISIS would probably be there with our involvement or not. But we had a hand in them being created. We should own everything you do. We get a little bit of culpability in that too.
Yeah.
So if this Syrian thing, if we take him in and everything goes well or something goes bad, we should own it. If we don't take him, we should own that too. That's all I'm saying.
Here's my thing, man, and I totally
negative or positive
understand that there's and it's something I was trying to explain to the guy me and Jonathan Esther were talking to is not only do I understand, but I'm at more risk than most people, okay? Because I'm fucking a Muslim. Because she's letting me fuck her. That puts, I mean, we are higher up on the list of getting people killed than your average American, okay? That's just how the shit works, okay? So I understand, and it's something that actually affects my life. Like, my wife has to watch out where she travels now because of this situation, okay? She can't go visit her family when they retire because of this situation, okay? So nobody's saying, hey, all these refugees, they're just a bunch of innocent people, blah, blah, we should just let them in willy-nilly, not bother with them. I mean, a lot of these things that these governors are asking for, they just want to make sure they get checked out. What they were asking for was already happening.
No, they asked for a review of the process to make it more stringent.
All right.
So, like, two did, you know. Most of what they asked for was shit that was already happening. And what they were pretending to their freaking voters was, oh, they're just trying to throw these people in here for no reason. Did you know that all these governors who are denying this shit, they have no legal basis to deny refugees in their land? We figured this shit out back in the 80s. They don't have this fucking right. The only thing they're doing right now is pandering to their voters. It doesn't matter to them if these refugees come to their fucking state. They just know, hey, if I got a lot of people that hate Muslims in here, I better fucking jump on this, you know? That's kind of, and everybody that I've seen, okay, and maybe it's just a coincidence again, but everybody that I've seen that has a really big problem with these refugees didn't just start having a problem with people of other race. You know,
look,
like,
man,
practically everybody.
at the end of the day, you know, the king is going to do whatever he wants, and it's going to happen. And when shit hits the storm, because eventually it will, because they're terrorists, they'll find their way in. I'm going to sit back, I'm going to have a Jack and Coke, and I'm going to say, I fucking told you so.
They were finding their way in already, man.
I know.
Into the news.
But just saying.
But here's what a lot
Hey,
of
Puppet Master,
trying to get people to
you
understand.
know you're gonna have to lend me at least one gun.
Here's what a lot of people are failing to understand is these people who are leaving because they were being attacked by ISIS. You know, so we're standing. Mind you, this has happened before in history. We denied freaking refuge to German Jews back in World War II. We ended up changing our mind because we realized we were just allowing people to get massacred. But there was once a ship came all the way from fucking Europe, got to the freaking U.S., and we turned them around and sent them back. Bunch of these people got fucking massacred due to our. Luckily other countries weren't as fearful, took in a bunch of and these are countries who were getting bombed on their home turf. Wasn't like the U.S. that we were sending people over and only the freaking military had to worry about getting killed. No, these were European countries that were getting fucking destroyed. This is in World War II, where how many millions of people died? I think 60 million total?
Oh.
So if my grandparents were brave enough to take Germans in from Nazi Germany, can I sit here and say, well, there could be terrorists in there, guys? It's just so scary, And if France and some dirty freaking Swedes are taking these people in, I can't be more of a coward.
Dirty Swedes. Oh, man.
I'm just saying, I can't.
That's reaching into the race bag right there.
Talk to some fucking filthy Swedes, and they're going, hey, yeah, we took these people in. How are you guys doing over there, America? You guys are so scared over there. It's true.
All right, so, here's a quick little story. And, me and Mrs. Puppet Master were having a discussion the other day.
Mrs. Puppet Master, part-time Mrs. Alone in the Dark. Carry on.
Yeah, it got a little heated because, she got real emotional for a minute about, the refugees and feeling sorry for them. And then my opportunity came in to give my opinion. I can't sure if she asked or, I don't know. I can't remember. But I was like,
sure she did it.
I was like, yeah, I don't feel sorry for him at all. She was like, what? And I was like, absolutely, don't feel sorry for him. And before I could really come to grips with what I said and understand why I said it, because there was a reason I said it, I just wasn't sure what it was yet. Of course, it got heated, like heated. Like me and her, you guys know, we don't fight.
Yeah,
we don't.
yeah.
We don't fight. It just never happens. But it almost happened that night. So I was like, yeah, we ended it. Fucking about a week later, something happened, and we were talking, and I turned around and I said, our conversation the other day wasn't, I don't feel sorry for any of them. And the reason is I don't know who to feel sorry for. I don't know who is truly a refugee and who's not. So until I can disseminate that threat, until I know what's what, I don't feel sorry for anybody in there. I'm sorry, I don't. I just don't have that in me.
Well, here's my question, okay? If, let's say one person, okay, just one refugee, you see that they literally got driven out of their country to save their fucking lives, running with their kids in their arms, out of fucking, mind you, a lot of these people left their country on foot, walking to another country. What's the furthest you guys have walked in the last couple of years?
A long ways, brother.
Yeah, they hike a lot.
I was clocking, I think, 7 miles a day when I was at the Volkswagen plant. I want to say some of these refugees hiked about a couple 100 miles, I think.
Yeah.
With their kid in their arms, everything they own on their back. So let's just say this one person, we've tracked them from all the way from Syria all the way to the U.S. Could you feel sorry for that person, or are you still...
Maybe. I don't know. It all depends. Interaction matters. What I know of the situation matters. All of it will matter. I don't feel emotion over people I don't know. I usually don't. I don't know if maybe I'm just an asshole or maybe I lack that emotional synapses in my fucking head, but until I interact with an individual, I don't really ever feel an emotion about them.
It's okay. You're our asshole. We're okay with it. You know, as a racist
You're gonna
and
have to go with
asshole as you are.
Informer on that one, for sure.
So
Much
the
as I would
consensus is that I'm just an asshole?
As much as I would like to say you have a mental issue, I'm gonna have to go with asshole on that one. Okay.
Yeah, see? I told you I wasn't fucking retarded.
I don't think. Look, I don't think you're an asshole. I think you're a person that's concerned, and rightly so. And like anybody who's concerned, it's like, okay, it's like you have a pack of people outside your house asking for money, and they just look shifty. You know, until you know better, you close the door until you figure something out. I understand. It's not a ridiculous premise to take. You know,
It's like this. Check it out. Perfect example. You won't catch me giving to a charity. You won't. I won't give to a charity. But you will catch me. You will catch me walking down the street. I'll talk to a homeless man. I'll get to know that homeless man. I'll take him out to lunch. You know what I'm saying? I will do that. But I won't give my money randomly to someone I don't know. Because I have no emotional commitment to that. I used to, back down in California, there's this guy, a homeless dude, Logan. On the way home, every single day, he'd be at the top of the exit ramp, fucking holding a sign, fucking, I'm hungry, blah, blah, blah. Any amount of money helps. Pull up, dude, I won't give you any money. But I will meet you over there at that Wendy's right there, and I will buy you breakfast, or I'll buy you lunch, or I'll buy you dinner. And he's like, really? Absolutely. So we went over there, sat down, eat, talked the entire... I know everything about that guy's life. And I fed him every day for 3 months. And the motherfucker ended up dying for some other reasons, but like, I know everything about Logan.
That was a really
That's the only
suspicious phrase right there, by the way.
What, that he died?
Yeah, for other reasons.
For other reasons.
Like,
Not the knife I jabbed into his ribs.
No, all right. So the truth behind it is that he was a recovering alcoholic and started drinking some more, and to get out of to quit being he wanted to recover once again. He went to an extreme alcoholism rehabilitation program, which basically makes you drink until you fucking want to die. And he did die.
Yeah.
I mean, is that legal? I didn't know you were allowed to do that.
It's sketchy. It's not legal. You're not gonna find any certified place like that, but they're out there.
You know, I did hear. I mean, total side thing here, but I did hear about this one, and I want to say it was on CSI, so maybe it's all a bunch of.
It also might have something to do with the fact that he had staph infection when he did it. So I'm just saying.
Oh.
Yeah, that too.
I was observing this. Anyways,
Bearing the lead.
This one episode of CSI where apparently like these kids were hooked on meth or heroin or some shit like that, and apparently there's a drug that you could take that will help cure you of addictions. It has a pretty high percentage of getting you to kick addictions, just one shot fucking drop here. But apparently the fucking side effect of that drug is it will make you more high than you've ever been in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come off it, you just freaking kick some addiction. You know, whatever else you were addicted from is gone now. You know, so I gotta figure out what that drug is. That's some crazy shit.
I'm gonna become addicted to the drug that makes me not addicted.
Like I'm not a junkie. I'm just extremely clean.
I got an issue with chewing on my nails and stuff. I wonder if that would one way to find out. You know what I mean?
Killing a fly with a bazooka, huh?
But anyways.
Yeah.
There's a saying. What is it? Complex problems deserve complex solutions. This is about as complex a problem as you can have.
What's that?
This whole refugee thing. It's touchy for there are layers of mistrust and misdeeds, and it's in the middle of a moment when we have a huge issue with the particular culture coming in. It's a terrible situation to come in. But when I was talking on the Facebook post, I kind of followed along the lines of Alone in the Dark. I think it's cowardly of us not to take him. I'm fine with us being cowards. Let's just not pretend we are. We're not, you know. But I understand why we're cowardly. It's like seeing some guy run away from a gunfight. I'm not gonna mock you at the end of it. I mean, we've all three of us here have been in the line of fire. We know that one person that ducked or hid or broke. All of us saw at least one. I know that because I know I saw one, so I know you guys saw one. So we never came back and put that guy on blast because we all know exactly what that situation is. You think you're a man until you're in that position. You don't know how you're going to react. You know, you could say all day long, I'm going to stand tall against the enemy when they come in my door with a gun.
Till you shit your pants.
Yeah, until it happens, man, you really don't know.
Well, and some people just, I mean, it's not even a controllable thing. It's a panic response, and the thing that's about panic responses, you can't fucking control it. You gotta ride that shit out, you know? It's like yelling at somebody for having Tourette's. They can't control that shit. You know?
What?
I remember the very first time I saw it. The very first time we took Fire on Post, I saw a dude dive under a cot, and for me it was the oddest thing because at the time I was just like, "How is
What's the guy gonna do?"
Yeah, I'm sitting here like,
hey, now our ponchos were supposed to protect us from a nuclear blast.
Nuclear blast. I remember that.
Stop some measly gunfire. You know what I mean?
But I saw him. Now, granted, he was absolutely the dude that we pegged to do that in that environment. We knew it. Like when he went down, it wasn't. Nobody was expecting him to hold the line. So we just did what we had already pre-planned, which was work around him, like we did on most days. But
I see Jonathan Esther snatch up his rifle, like shooting both from the hip, like da 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 da.
I wish, man. I just
hit a fucking thing.
That's why I was like, my entire life was like just focus on getting good shots. That's all I did. Like there was like a 5-second delay between each of my shots. But the point I'm making is this: what struck me wasn't that he did that. It was that no one mocked him after. Like you watch the movies and you see that guy always getting mocked and pushed around, and no, nobody mocked him after. Nobody even brought it up. We picked him up like it was like he's just a fellow brother in arms and moved on with our day.
What a missed opportunity.
I know.
We didn't have an Alone in the Dark there to point out the obvious. But I'm just saying, if we're gonna be that guy, we should relinquish that moral high ground we enjoy so much so we can become better. It's like Rousey taking her beating recently. If we're gonna be knocked out, I want us to go back to the bleachers or locker room or whatever and fix our game. And we don't do it unless we admit we're the ones walking away from this.
Absolutely.
All I'm asking is at least let us be braver than some fucking Swedes. Come on now.
Some dirty Swedes.
That's all I'm asking. Okay, it's not like be braver than, okay, the Germans, okay, that's understandable. But fucking goddamn Swedish people, I can't even.
I wanna say, as 1/3 of Dare to Disagree currently on, I think your Belgian waffles are fantastic. So no.
Look, man, I'm just fucking proud of France. I mean, shit.
Yeah, no.
Who knew they had balls? I mean.
Aww. Low blow. Low historical blow.
Literally a low blow.
But yeah, no. I mean, commendable. They did some amazing. I mean, I actually had family members. Hilariously, after the fact, I had a family member who actually was supposed to go to the Eagles of Death Metal concert that they were having there at the plaza where they shot up the concert.
Yep.
And at the last second, she decided to go with a family friend. And for us, me and my mother, the reason I use the word hilariously is because it's one of those dark comedy moments where me and my mother are listening to them talk to us and almost kind of both went, "Oh, this is your first terrorist. Ah,
how cute.
You guys will be all right. You guys." And at the end of it, like, most people know this, me and my mother are not on good terms. We bonded for a second. That was a rare moment where we sat there and we're like, "Oh, that's kind of cute. They had their first terrorist. They're gonna make it through it. They'll be fine."
What the only thing I heard from that story is another fucking black person not showing up where they're supposed to be. As fucking Is that your whole thing, fucking Jonathan Esther? You're just hoping this will save your life one time, being 2 hours late to a fucking appointment? Good job, Bob. That thing was supposed to happen right when I got there. I didn't show up.
That's not.
Hey, look,
plan, man.
for all you know, every time he's late, he avoided a car accident that he was going to be on for trying to be on time.
I haven't tried yet. It's working. It's working.
That's a lot of. What I heard a comedian say something along those lines before. It was like, listen, right? Every time I go in that room and I jerk off, one of you guys, I do it because I'm trying to stop you guys from being eaten by wolves. The guy goes, there are no fucking wolves in New York. You're welcome.
You got it right there, isn't it? You could thank me for my service, but
we gotta wrap this up. I gotta get going.
All right. Well, that's been the show, ladies and gentlemen. I was your host, Jonathan Esther, out of Cali.
yeah, this is Alone in the Dark in Coloradans.
And it's the Puppet Master.
You don't want to add there, puppets? Oh! With a slow chemical move.
Damn. You know what's funny? Right when he left, your sound quality got better.
Yeah, that's just because, Puppet Master's always draining off the black man. That's not new. All his success is from us.
All right, we'll see you motherfuckers next week.
That show is next week.
Later.